Imagine loving someone so much that you tolerate every excuse, every late-night plan, every "it's just a friend," until one day you realize you're not in a relationship anymore. You're just holding on to someone who's already gone. This is my story of heartbreak, betrayal, and the hard choice I had to make, not just to save my relationship, but to save myself. 4 years of love. When I first met Sarah, 24F, I never imagined she'd one day become the person who would test me more than anyone else ever had. I was 23 then, fresh out of college, full of plans and ambition. She was 20, studying psychology, full of life, the kind of girl who could light up a room just by walking into it. Our first date wasn't anything fancy, just coffee at a small cafe downtown, but it felt right. We talked for hours, losing track of time until the staff had to gently tell us they were closing. From that day on, we were inseparable. We went through everything together: exams, job interviews, late-night drives, even a trip abroad when we saved enough. For almost 3 years, we lived in the same city and life was good. Then came the job offer. It was an incredible opportunity, the kind you can't say no to. The catch? It was in another city, hundreds of miles away. We had a long, tearful conversation before I left. "We'll make it work," Sarah said, holding my hand. "We're strong enough. It's just distance. We can handle distance." And for the first few months, we did. Long-distance relationships are hard. The first few weeks, we called every night, texted throughout the day, and counted down the days until my next visit. But after about 6 months, I started noticing subtle changes. The texts became less frequent. The calls became shorter. And when we did talk, she seemed distracted, like her mind was somewhere else. At first, I thought it was just stress from her classes. She had online lectures and assignments piling up. But then one night, during one of our longer calls, she said something that stopped me cold. "I've been thinking a lot about who I am lately," she began. "You know how I've always said I'm bi? Lately, I feel like I only find girls attractive now. Guys just don't do it for me anymore. I mean, you're the exception, obviously. I still love you." I tried to keep my voice calm, but inside, I felt like the ground was shifting under me. "Okay, but does that change anything between us?" I asked carefully. "No," she said quickly. "You're still my person. It's just how I feel right now." I told myself it was fine. She was being honest, and that was good. But deep down, a part of me wondered, was I still enough for her? A few weeks later, she started telling me about a new friend she'd made, Maya, 25F. According to Sarah, Maya was going through a lot. She'd recently realized she was into girls too, but her situation was complicated. She had a boyfriend who wasn't exactly thrilled about her exploring her sexuality, but they were trying to figure things out, supposedly in some kind of poly arrangement. At first, I was happy for Sarah. She had someone to hang out with, someone who understood what she was going through. But then I noticed the timing. Most of their hangouts were late at night, really late. Sometimes she'd text me at 10 p.m. saying she was going over to Maya's place, and then I wouldn't hear from her again until 3 or 4 a.m. When I asked her about it, she'd brushed it off. "Babe, it's nothing. We just watch movies or talk." Her boyfriend's usually there too, and sometimes other friends drop by. "You're overthinking." But it wasn't just once or twice. It was happening multiple times a week. Our physical connection started fading too. When I finally visited her after 3 months apart, I expected we'd spend the weekend together, just the two of us. But even then, something was different. She wasn't affectionate. She didn't want to be intimate. When I asked if something was wrong, she said she'd been feeling sad and depressed lately, and that was affecting her mood. I wanted to be supportive, Mental health struggles are real. But I couldn't shake the image of her laughing and hanging out with Maya until sunrise while I sat alone, waiting for a goodnight text. Finally, one night, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Sarah," I said on the phone, "I need to be honest. I'm not comfortable with you going over to Maya's place that late and staying until 4 a.m. multiple times a week. I feel like I'm losing you." She sighed loudly. "We've been over this. Maya is my only close friend here. I don't have anyone else. Are you really asking me to give up the one thing that makes me feel okay just because you're insecure?" "This isn't about being insecure," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "This is about respect. In a relationship, there have to be boundaries. Can't you hang out earlier in the day? Or at least not stay out so late? So you want to control who I see and when I see them?" She shot back. "That's not a relationship. That's you policing me." Her words stung. I wasn't trying to control her. I was trying to save what we had left. After weeks of fighting about it, I finally said what I had been avoiding. "Sarah, if this keeps happening, I don't think I can do this anymore. I love you, but I can't be in a relationship where I feel like a spectator in your life. Something has to change. No more staying out until 4 a.m. several times a week. If that's too much to ask, then maybe we need to take a step back." She went quiet for a long time before finally saying, "If that's how you feel, maybe you should rethink whether this relationship is right for you." Over the next month, nothing changed. In fact, things got worse. She stopped telling me when she was going to Maya's place. Our calls became rare and awkward. And when I did visit again, she'd barely touch me. I felt like I was holding on to a ghost. The girl I loved was gone, replaced by someone who didn't care whether I stayed or left. One sleepless night, staring at my ceiling at 3 a.m., while wondering if she was at Maya's place again, I realized something. I had become a shell of myself, anxious, insecure, constantly checking my phone for a text that never came. This wasn't love anymore. This was torture. The next morning, I called her. "Sarah," I said softly, "I love you, but I can't do this to myself anymore. If staying with Maya until 4 a.m. is more important than building a future with me, then maybe it's time we let each other go." There was a long pause. Then she said, almost in a whisper, "Maybe you're right. Maybe I need to figure out who I am before I can be with anyone." And just like that, for years ended with a single phone call. For weeks after the breakup, I was a mess. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. But slowly, I started putting myself back together. I went to the gym, spent more time with friends, threw myself into my job. And here's where the revenge comes in, not the petty, dramatic kind, but the quiet, powerful kind. 6 months later, I got promoted and moved to an even better city. I met new people, traveled, started living the life I had put on hold for someone who didn't value me. One day, out of nowhere, I got a message from Sarah. "Hey, I just wanted to say I miss you. I think I made a mistake." For a moment, the old feelings came rushing back, but then I remembered all the nights I spent waiting for her, all the times I begged for her time and attention. I replied simply, "I wish you the best, Sarah, but I've moved on." And that was the sweetest revenge of all, showing her that I could be happy without her. Looking back, I don't regret giving her the ultimatum. I don't regret walking away, because boundaries aren't control, they're respect. And if someone can't respect your boundaries, they don't deserve your heart. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is living well, and proving that losing you was their biggest mistake.